A new article in ecowatch.com says China reassigns 60,000 soldiers to plant trees, which is pretty amazing. And I've talked about this before. Not that the Chinese government is perfect. They do a lot of things that very much can be very totalitarian in many ways, but so can America's government. And they have a huge pollution problem and started to do something about it several years ago. I've mentioned this before. In 2015, the Chinese government spent $111 billion on wind and solar, basically clean energy, because they realize they have a serious issue here. And they need to transition. They still are a big polluter with coal, but they're trying to get off of it. And this is, say what you want to say about a centralized communist government. When they say we're going to do this, it just happens. They just do it. I'll read the article. Earlier this year, the Chinese government announced plans for a major reforestation project, growing 6.66 million hectares of new forest this year, an area roughly the size of Ireland. To achieve this goal, China has reassigned more than 60,000 soldiers to plant the trees, according to the Asia Times. A large regiment from the People's Liberation Army, along with some of the nation's armed police force, have been withdrawn from their post near the northern border to work on the task. The majority of the troops will be dispatched in the heavily polluted industrial province of Hebei, which has pledged to raise total forest coverage by 35% by the end of 2020. This is pretty amazing, and I can tell you this is a real issue. I've been to Beijing and Shanghai, and the pollution in Beijing is as bad as you would think it is. And I remember I took a bullet train from Beijing to Shanghai, and we're going through rural areas, and there was smog all the way through it. So it's very noticeable, and it's a real threat and a real issue, and they're trying to do something about it. Meanwhile, our country had all this regulation and was turning the tide on some of the environmental problems, but now we've deregulated it, and Trump is deregulating a lot of it because he's a jackass, and his whole cabinet is climate change deniers who are paid by the oil industry to push that agenda, because the oil industry doesn't want to hear about this. And China has to purchase its oil. They have to purchase it from other places. They get some on their country, but they have to purchase it, like most everybody else, from the Middle East. So they'd love to not be able to purchase that as well. But here's some more statistics. China's State Forestry Administration aims to increase the whole country's forest coverage rate to 23% from 21.7% by the end of the decade. Then from 2020 to 2035, China plans to further boost the percentage of forest coverage to 26%. China is the world's largest emitter and remains heavily dependent on coal, but has been cleaning up its act in recent years due to concerns over the impacts of air pollution and climate change. The country is investing heavily, as I talked about, in renewable energy efficiency, and electric cars. So it's a short little article. It's a little fact here, and it's EcoWatch is not a bad site to read, and obviously they're focusing on the environment, and a lot of legislation that has passed comes through here first. And you know, it's something to pay attention to, and it shows, like, if China can, one of the single greatest polluter on the planet is like, wow, we need to do something about this. America could do this. And we could put a lot of people to work. We could put a lot of people to work planting trees. We could put people to work building wind turbines and solar panels. We could put a lot of people to work redoing the electric grid in America. We could put a lot of people to work building high-speed rail from coast to coast. We could put a lot of people to work here in America building American products that are good for the environment. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. But because of people like Bill Clinton and NAFTA and the TPP, and then the Republicans just deregulating everything, and people like Clinton and Obama letting it happen, then we have a demagogue lunatic in Trump. We're not number one. The things we're number one in are like awful things, like handgun deaths. We should be number one in green energy. We should be the cleanest, most efficient country on the face of the earth. We should be like this beacon of hope that we used to be. We should be like, oh, America's leading the way in clean energy. America's putting all of its citizens to work. It's the richest country. America doesn't have a homeless problem. America is dealing with mental illness. It's dealing with the opioid epidemic. It's dealing with all of these things. No. 80% of our population is near poverty. We have 50 million people near poverty. We could turn that around overnight if we wanted to really invest in green energy. If we treated climate change the way we do terrorism, we would have a shot at saving the human race. We could turn it around. We could actually win that battle versus this endless war of terrorism, this innocuous sort of thing that we can sort of just this like gas that we can't ever put our hands around that we're just trying to get a hold of. We could be leaders, or we could just be the evil empire war machine. What kind of America do you want? Work to make it better. Many of you are. I applaud that. And get behind politicians that want to make real change. Don't acquiesce. Don't move to the center. Don't go lesser of two evils. That is a huge, huge mistake. That's why we're here right now with tiny hand, orange skin, wingnut in the White House. Because we all lesser of two evils, and well, a shit sandwich with fries is better than a shit sandwich. No, it's not. You're eating shit. Either way, you're eating shit. You're fucking disgusting. Is that what neoliberals wake up in the morning and go, I want to eat shit today? Just as long as it's on really nice bread. Thanks for watching the show. Support the Patreon. Links below. Come to one of my live shows, especially the FNX Comedy Experience. You're supporting Native American comedy, and just we have funny comics on the show of all different ethnicities. We just had a great show. There's more to come. Thanks for supporting.